Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about which figures you can trust when you're choosing your niche, and it's easy to think there's a formula for internet marketing. Lots of systems teach you that there's kind of a sweet spot between, say, 10,000 and 25,000 searches per month, and the figures vary. A lot depends on who's suggesting them. It might be as low as 1,000 to 1,500, whatever, and they might be mixed in with some other figures. For instance, if the system's based around ClickBank, there's a good chance it'll suggest that you use their gravity figure. Warrior Plus has a similar figure, they call it Pulse. ClickBank's gravity figure isn't something you can rely on, nor is the Warrior Plus Pulse figure. All they tell you is, with ClickBank, an approximation of how many affiliates have recently made a sale. So if there's only one affiliate promoting the product, no matter how many sales they make, the gravity figure can't go above 1. It's as simple as that. So whether they're regularly selling 1 or 100 or 1,000 or even 1,000,000 copies a day, the maximum gravity is 1 because they're the only affiliate selling it. But if 100 people are regularly making 1 sale each, the gravity will be 100. Even if the other product with a lower number of affiliates and showing a gravity of maybe 1 is making more sales overall, that's why the figure is completely fiction. So 100 sales could have a gravity of 100, or it could have a gravity of 1, or anywhere in between. And it means the ClickBank gravity just isn't a figure to pay any attention to at all, with the possible exception of promoting products with a low gravity that fit your niche on the basis that there aren't many people competing. I've done really well with that because I know when I was promoting one product it's no longer available, but I knew the product owner and had a maximum gravity of 2 because it was just him and me promoting it. We were both making sales quite regularly. Yeah. The next figure that gets thrown around a lot is the number of monthly searches shown on the Google Keyword Planner. And if you've got at least one campaign running, and that's a paid campaign nowadays, it gives you a very precise looking figure for the number of monthly searches for different keyword phrases. If you've not got at least a paid campaign running, it'll only give you a very imprecise range for the number of searches. But to be honest, both figures are often wildly inaccurate. But in much the same way we believe things that are in print, we believe the figures we see on screen, especially as most of us trust Google at least to some extent. And the problem with the Keyword Planner is it's designed to sell more pay-per-click adverts for Google. It doesn't really care about you and number of searches. It wants to sell adverts. And there are so many other variables that the figures can be out by an order of magnitude. I know that because I've had pages where they regularly, year in, year out, get more traffic than Google says exists at all. And that's not just a few more, sometimes more in one day than Google says exists in a month. Yep, been there, done that regularly. Other terms with decent traffic showing on my site didn't appear in the Keyword Planner for months or even years. I was getting typically 100 plus visits a month on certain terms that Google they were too small to show in the Keyword Planner. And part of the problem is that the Keyword Planner isn't Google's main product. Most people, probably 99% of them, use Google to search, not to check the number of searches in order to buy an advert. It's probably more than 99% versus 1%. Another part is if Google gave precise figures, even if they were available, I'm not totally convinced that they are, then competitors could learn more about their business than Google cared to reveal. But that, even if they were available, statement is critical. Sure, Google have the data, but processing it into precise figures for every potential query in the planner would take a lot of computer power. For what? Well, to sell a few more ads, they're selling those anyway. So instead, the figures are an approximation, and even ignoring other factors like how many other adverts are showing on the relevant search results. If there are quite a few adverts, the search numbers would only really apply to the ads as there's a tail off in clicks the further you scroll down the page. It's reckoned that the top 3 results get the majority of the clicks. That's why Google have the top 3 results often as adverts. Okay, funny that. Plus the figures will be spread out over at least the first page results, so between 10 and sometimes upwards of 14 results, if there's 4 at the top and maybe 1 or 2 at the bottom, will get the clicks spread between them. And that means the only figures you know for certain are the ones you're on your own stats, and even those can be misleading. Some stats, Google Analytics for instance, are based on JavaScript and will vary depending on how far down the page the code is. So if it's a long page, it may not get loaded, and whether every visitor visiting your site has JavaScript enabled. Again, that's by no means a given. Some of these paranoid types just don't do it. Server logs in your control panel will show robots as well as human visitors most of the time. WordPress's Jetpack Stats does its best to ignore robots and just show human views, as does Google Analytics, but even those can be skewed if you regularly visit your own site without being logged in, so even figures that should be precise can vary quite considerably. The only real figures I personally trust are sales. Someone's paid me money, either directly or as an affiliate for someone else, and subject to refunds, those are actual sales and money in my pocket or my PayPal account or wherever. You won't know ahead of time which pages on your site and which videos record and which emails you write will turn to sales. I've got some quite high traffic pages that should make sales and don't, and others low traffic sales pages that regularly make sales, so no overall logic, just over time it works. Because without a working crystal ball, it's just impossible to know, and as far as I'm aware, most crystal balls don't work like that if they work at all. Depends what the fortune teller told you. So put your trust issues aside and stop using any figures other than sales made as a crutch. Just do it. You'll be able to work out what works for you, and you can use the time you'd have previously spent checking figures, use it productively instead by creating new content. And if you'd like more help with this, click the link below this video. I'll give you more real-world information that just works, as long as you're actually prepared to work it. So click the link below this video and join me for more info like this. Thanks for watching.